What if I told you that 98,000 people down here in Ecuador recently lost access to their money, and that situation could have been avoided by simply taking a few minutes to do a bit of research? Today, I'm going to share with you how I figured out that was a bad place to put my money and managed to not become one of those 98,000 people. Steve here, Street Smart Travel. I have a PSA today, a public service announcement, about how I avoided becoming a victim of the Cooperativa CREA collapse. Now, first, I got to tell you, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is a simple system and framework that I use to vet institutions and investments, and it has served me well and continues to serve me well over decades of putting money in financial institutions and investing. I'm in retirement. The money that I have down here invested in CDs is used, the interest from that is used to fund my lifestyle and my retirement down here. So I'm not gambling with that. Now, Cooperativa CREA, on July 29th, 2025, Ecuador's financial regulator, CEP, or Superintendencia de Economía Popular y Solidaria, shut down Cooperativa CREA and forced it into liquidation. This wasn't some small-time fly-by-night operation. They had 98,000 members. They were a Tier 1 organization, which means at some point they had at least $80 million of assets. And they've been in business for 12 years. Basically what happened, CREA had been under intensive regulatory supervision for 2 years. That means the regulator was working with them for 2 years to help them get back into compliance, to fix the issues that they had. And when they determined they couldn't do that, they moved in and shut them down. And the big issue was the solvency ratio fell below 50% of the legal minimum. And the worst part is that most of the members had no idea any of this was going on. Now, fortunately, there is some good news in this, and that is that they're already in the process, started late August, with the help of the regulator, of getting money back to the depositors, back to the members of CREA. And because they were Tier 1, people that had money in the institution up to $32,000 were covered by COSEDE. COSEDE is the same as FDIC in the States or CDIC in Canada, the Deposit Insurance Corporations. It's the regulatory arm that makes sure that financial institutions are playing by the rules, and if they're not, they get shut down, and your deposits are insured in Tier 1 up to $32,000. Now, fortunately, as of mid-September, we're September 13th today, a lot of people, I don't know the exact number, but a lot of people have been able to get their money and to put it into a safer institution. That's the upside. So the worst case scenario out of all of this was that month between July 29th to the end of August, where all the depositors knew they were supposed to be getting their money back, but when is it going to happen? Do we get it all back? How does it go? Pretty much the numbers I've been able to find, up to about 99% of depositors in Cooperativa CREA were at or below that $32,000 insurance limit, so they are getting their money back. That's fantastic. Earlier this year, I had a CD coming due. So I went into the institution that was holding that CD and asked them a bunch of simple questions. I met with somebody and said, okay, what's going on with interest rates? Last year they were between 8 and 10%. This year they're high 6s to mid 7s. What changed? What's going on in the economy? Do you see any headwinds? What about defaults? Just give me a sense of what's going on. 30,000 foot level questions. Nothing really drilled down. I'm not going to get any secrets or any inside information about banking. I just want to know what's going on. And out of that meeting, I got a very, very important piece of information which convinced me that Cooperativa CREA was not a good place for me to put money. At the end of this video, I will unpack exactly what that was, because you can do this exact same thing anywhere with any financial institution on earth. I use 3 basic rules anytime I'm vetting a financial institution or an investment. If I'm thinking about putting money somewhere, these are 3 things that are non-negotiable for me. And again, not financial advice, just the framework I use to evaluate investments for myself. Rule number 1, never rely on word of mouth or marketing solely. So Word of mouth may put an investment or an institution on my radar. That's the beginning of the process. Then I need to figure out, do they deserve to be on my radar? I'm looking for holes. I'm looking for inconsistencies. I'm looking for reasons to remove them from my watch list. Rule number 2, get official data in writing from reliable sources. Super important. You need to know the facts so that you can make an informed decision. And rule number 3, if it doesn't pass the sniff test, if I get a gut instinct, something's not right about this, I walk away. That's it. We're done. So again, 3 rules. Never rely solely on word of mouth or marketing. Rule number 2, get the official data from reliable sources. And rule number 3, if it doesn't pass the sniff test, walk away. It's not worth it. Now, like a lot of expats, I came down to Ecuador for a better quality of life, a much simpler life, better weather, friendlier people, fresher food, fresher air, cleaner water, all these things. And as a bonus, financial institutions down here generally pay decent amounts of interest on certificates of deposit, CDs. Fortunately, last year rates were 8 to 10%. Like I said, you could find those all day long. This year they came down a bit, but still high 6s to mid 7s, still better than anything I can find in Canada. And it made sense. Okay, I'll be in the country, I'll put some money here, and that way the interest from these investments can fund my lifestyle down here. The CREA situation shows everybody that financial institution collapse is the same the world over. No different from when Lehman Brothers went under in the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis back in 2007, 2008. Or more recently, Credit Suisse, or Silicon Valley Bank, or this latest one down here, Cooperativa CREA. It is super important to understand that just because laws and rules and financial regulations work a certain way in the country where you're from, that doesn't mean they work that way in every country. So, for example, the deposit insurance in the States is up to an amount of $250,000 US. Down here, Tier 1 is up to a total of $32,000 US, which means you need to take that in account if you're planning on putting money into certain investments or certain institutions. You can spread it around and still be covered by that insurance, $32,000 per institution per person. You can't assume, in this case, that the system in Ecuador works the same as it does in the States or Canada. There is no too big to fail. If you have money in an institution and it goes under, you're insured up to $32,000. And like we just saw, it took only a month, which sounds like a long time, but down here a month is nothing. And I sincerely hope that everybody, all the depositors who had any money in CREA, get every penny of it back. People that had more than $32,000 in there, and that's less than 1% of the members, they're going to have to wait until everything gets sold off and all these legal wranglings are over, and then, if there's money left over, hopefully they're made whole. Nobody knows how long that's going to take or whether that's going to happen. If you're finding this information useful, please drop a like, a comment. If you're not already, please subscribe. I would like to get this information out to people, especially when it comes to making investments in retirement. Again, not financial advice, but just be very aware of what you're doing. And by the way, if those 3 rules are not enough, if you're still not confident that, okay, this is a safe place to put money, then pay somebody on a fee basis to look at your situation, look at your goals, and then they can give you, like an expert, financial advisor, possibly an attorney, possibly an accountant, whoever it is, get them to give you professional advice on where is safe and what's going to meet the goals that you set for yourself, because there is no one-size-fits-all. And also, make sure that the only compensation they're receiving for that advice is from you. They don't have any conflicts of interest or moral hazard. They're not telling you to put money in an institution or an investment because they're getting a kickback. Now back to my meeting at this Cooperativa earlier this year. I was asking all these questions, and I didn't know specifically what to ask for, but because I was asking questions, this person printed off this list. This is the Sector Financiero Popular y Solidario Segmento 1. This is a list of cooperativas in Ecuador, Tier 1, which means they have at least $80 million in assets, and they're covered, those deposits are covered by deposit insurance through COSEDE, up to 32,000 US dollars. I have this list, rank order. There's 42 institutions on here. They're all names. They mean nothing to me. I can see who has the most money, all these things. And the only piece of information that this person at the Cooperativa gave me, and this is key, they didn't say stay away from these ones or put money in these ones, nothing like that. They just said, when you're looking at that list, if you see negatives anywhere, I would suggest you stay away from those institutions. CREA was on my radar. I received information from other expats. Yeah, check them out. I've been working with them for years. Everything's great. They're friendly. They always come through. And 4 months later, they were being liquidated, right? They didn't exist any longer. So because I had this list and I knew what to look for, I knew CREA off my list. That was it. And I chose to make a different decision, which fortunately until today, knock wood, has proven to be safer and more reliable. Nobody is going to take better care of your money than you are. And in retirement, you need to know that your money is safe and it's going to see you through your retirement years. I don't want to put any of my money in any institution or investment or situation where I'm not going to have access to it for any period of time. And because I don't want to be in that situation, I make sure I do the due diligence to the best of my knowledge to avoid that situation. So do your homework, trust your instincts, and remember, it's better to earn a little less rather than to lose a lot more. I hope you found value in this video. Look forward to any comments you may have. If you had money in Cooperativa CREA, I sincerely hope you get every penny of it back and you take this information and other information that will help you better vet future investments and where you're going to put your money, that you're very sure it's going to be safe or as safe as it can possibly be. Happy investing. See you out on the road.